And we're live, I hope.
Yes, we
We,
are.
we've had some
Everybody's with us.
interesting stuff so far.
Lola's on, Clay's on, Mediocre Modeler's on, Ramon is on. We got everybody. And
Awesome.
so it's
That's
going to be a
awesome.
good night.
Yeah,
Oh,
if you
yeah.
only knew
We
what
got
we
a
go
great
through to
guest.
get this up sometimes. I've got wires scattered
Oh, yeah.
all over my hotel room. It literally looks like I've probably plugged in the CYLON head thing. Like it talks about in the book where they're all
The
transmitting
helmet.
back and forth the helmet. It's
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
looks like that in here. I've got room enough to I got room enough to grab my beer, so I'm good.
Oh, we got the beers. That's right. Hey, Lola. Robert's
Her
on.
name
Hey,
was
Rob.
Lola.
Welcome.
She was a showgirl.
Stay away from the Copacabana. Ramon, good evening to you, sir. All right. So,
Lola asked where I
we
was. I
have,
am in the hotel room, Lola. I
yes,
am in
where?
Savannah, Georgia, checking out the base star here at Savannah, and it's a southern base star, but it's doing pretty good.
Well, yeah, but what about have you gone on any raids?
I went
Have
on
you
one
picked up
raid
any?
and found it lacking. I'm going to
Oh
report that to the
no.
Imperious leader that the comic book raid that I went on was just too commercialized and just wasn't worth it. So I'm going to have to report them to the Imperious leader, and they're either going to get annihilated or retrained. One of the two. We haven't decided which one yet. So I'll.
Use the algorithm. Give us the algorithm. Oh, you cut out. What did you do? You just cut out right when I asked you to stream out your 011001110. You just what happened to your audio? Oh, I can't hear you. No, nothing. Ah, people can read lips though. Oh boy. Well, we did. I still have some of these, everybody. So I don't know if anybody. I think maybe I heard a rumor that Razor Ramon might have one of these, and a couple of others may have gotten those. So I still have a couple of these left. So we're gonna have another one tonight because the challenge is still going on. I still haven't. We haven't tallied up the votes on whether or not I will be drinking the Vulcan Ale or the Klingon beer, and both of those are approximately, I don't know, let's say one is like 8 years old and the other one is almost the same. So I know that Lola said that I should drink the one in the bottle. So I don't know. Yeah, Ramon says the colonists got pissed off. That's the Savannah colonists, the Savannah colony. That's who's after you. You can't find them. I know these things are really hard to get. So, Vulcan bottled beer. Yes, Lola, I am. But I promised I was going to actually step up to the challenge, and whatever the votes are, right? So it's either one or the other. Some of the guys said, "Why don't you just
Check.
do both?" I'm not doing both. Oh,
Check.
you're back.
Ugh.
Oh, oh my God, the IL series came back. IL 5. You might get demoted, Chris. You
I
might
don't
be an
know.
IL 4. IL
I
4.
don't know. It's this mic I took off this colonial that I found down here. So I did shoot him. So it might have fried just a little bit. I mean,
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
I
Um,
I, I wanted to look like
so
that. Launch all Vipers. But
yes. Oh,
yeah.
let me
Look at
distract
that
you. Distract you with
shiny
that.
object.
Um, yes. There we go. Here's another one. How
Now that's an
about
awesome
that
one.
one?
That's an awesome one.
That's a good one. And I have one more.
That one
Oh,
looks
look at that.
familiar.
Oh boy, that's a great one. So, are you gonna rank that one particular store that you went to
So we're
and see if
using a
you'd
one
like?
to five or 1 to 10. I forgot. Let's see. If we're using a 1 to 5, it's going to fall on a 2. If we're using a 1 to 10, it's going to fall on a 1. Just kidding. It's going to fall on a 2 also. It was
Oh
bad.
wow.
It was just, you know, I, there's some great I love going to comic book stores. I love looking through old comics, but there are some that remind me of what's the mall store that has all of the Spencers.
Spencer's?
Yeah,
Yeah, no
it
good.
reminded me of a Spencer's. It really did.
Yeah.
It
No
was,
names, no
yeah.
names, no names,
What?
no
I just said
names, but
Spencer's. I
just
didn't say the name of the
yeah, yeah.
place.
No, not the
But
name of the place. By the way, Chris, we have Kevin Whitelock is with us too.
hey, Kevin.
Um,
I don't think I've
yeah,
heard that one
yeah.
before. He knew.
So, oh yeah.
He's new. Oh, you
Uh,
poor guy.
you poor guy. All right, well, let's I have a message from Rob Bow, and I'm going to bring that up in a second. But before we do that, I think it's time for us to toast.
Yes. So
So,
I
what are you drinking
I
tonight?
was in a hurry and I didn't get to pack my mug. I was traveling a little light
Oh,
compared to all the stuff
you
I
mean this
brought. I
one?
wish I had a picture. Yeah, that one. Look at that. Pete finally
That one.
finally put the eagle on it there, Pete. Good job.
Yeah, I got somebody from Battlestar Saturn sent over.
Ah,
Oh, was it Battlestar Saturn? No, maybe not. Maybe it
maybe
was
not.
a Cylon-based star that sent those over.
I think it was. We had we found them on some dead stuff, so we didn't have any use for them. So we sent them
It
on
was
over to
from the Atlantean.
your area. So tonight I am
So
drinking. This is going to sound disgusting for some of y'all, but I'm a really big coconut guy. The Imperious Leader doesn't let me have a lot of coconut, so I have to get it when I can. But I have got a local brew.
Oh,
Not
Death by
It's
Coconut.
Colorado. It's not local, but Death by Coconut. And it's chocolate and
Boy,
coconut Irish style porter, so it's a chewy beer.
it actually tastes like Yoo-hoo. They all end
Uh,
up tasting like Yoo-hoo.
you who didn't have coconut had chocolate. So here's mine. Ready? Oh, get it closer.
Ready? Go. Ah, nice.
Did you
All
wear it?
right, so
Which one are
no,
you
I did
drinking?
not. I'm in the office. I already had this up. Where have you been, man?
I've been
You
trying
better
to
put
fix
your
my
red eye
been
on.
trying to fix this colonial freaking microphone.
Yeah,
If it would have
yeah,
been
yeah.
designed
You're
by
full
a
of
Cylon, it would
excuses.
have worked a whole lot better.
Full of excuses. All right.
I almost started drinking.
Yeah, it was
I
me.
I
Yeah,
need to
okay.
start drinking after all the problems I've already had. So anyways,
Yeah, exactly.
here's to y'all. Thank you for being here. Fans fuel the fleet. You are the fans. You fuel our show, and you fuel the fandom of Battlestar Galactica and other shows, all the science fiction shows that we all love, old and new. So, anything you want to say, Pete?
Well, actually, let's just say I'm glad that everybody's with us.
Yes.
Everybody that's watching live, thank you for joining us. And everybody that watches us later on, hey, thanks for watching as well. So here's
Exactly.
to everybody.
Here's to
Fans
y'all.
fuel the fleet.
Fans fuel the fleet. Oh yeah, I got to chew that one. Mm,
Oh boy.
this tastes like a
Is
Mounds.
that Oh,
It does taste like a Mounds.
that's good. You got to
Mhm.
save me one of those.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll smuggle it back onto the base star through the raider that I'll be using tomorrow to get back to the
You're going to
main
be yes, one of the drones
one of the drones.
which was described in the chapter. But
Yes.
hey, listen, I'm New York Pete. For anybody tuning in that hasn't before, this is my partner. My partner, Tipsy Toaster.
I got it right.
Chris. And welcome to Interfleet Broadcasting. It's news entertainment with a slant towards 70s and 80s sci-fi TV movies from two guys that grew up watching the original Battlestar Galactica and all of Glenn Larson's great TV shows, and then some. As a matter of fact, Chris, oh yeah, let's not forget that one of your favorite shows
Yep, celebrated anniversary.
is, I think, yes, their anniversary. So why don't you
Two
just
of my
mention
favorite
that?
shows celebrated an anniversary.
Two. Let's go. Do it.
Logan's Run.
Yeah.
How many Logan's Run fans have we got out there?
Oh yeah. Come
Show-
on. There's
Logan's Run.
plenty.
Logan's Run. No.
Logan's
Anyone?
Run.
Anyone?
Come on,
I guess
one,
not.
two, yeah.
And then I'll say the
Oh,
other
no,
one.
Logan's Run.
No Logan's Run. I don't see anybody. Nobody's posting. I guess no Logan Runs fan.
Oh, there's plenty of posting. What are you talking
I'm
about?
not getting
You
it
just
on
do
my
your
end.
thing, man. Yeah, you're not. You're
No.
broken.
And then what's the next one was today's anniversary was Spaceballs, which Pete. We're probably gonna lose half our audience right now. Pete doesn't like Spaceballs, so
Oh boy.
I could
I've
practically
only
quote
watched it once.
Spaceballs.
Only once. Once was enough, and
Oh
I've
no,
watched all the
no.
other clips.
I
And
can't.
yeah,
I
yeah,
literally
yeah.
can't count how
Whatever.
many times I've watched Spaceballs.
Oh my God, there's so much other great
Oh no,
movie, TV, but that's not the point. It's
that
not the point.
it's a great
You're
space satire, and I would think it would. I would rank it better than the Galaxy Quest.
oh no, oh
Oh yeah,
boy,
see, that's where I knew.
oh that hurt. See,
Yeah,
that hurt me.
I knew
It really
you're
did.
the Star Trek fan for the Galaxy Quest. So
Galaxy Quest, yeah, that thing is awesome. However, listen, I got a little bit of an update real quick. Rob, he sent us some info. He said that at Mahonic Drive Theater in Layton, Pennsylvania, on July 4th, there's going to be a showing of The Never Ending Story, and Noah
never ending
Hathaway is
story.
scheduled to be a special guest at the event,
Oh
and he'll
yes,
be
I saw something like
signing.
that. Yeah.
Excuse me. So he's not sure, but it looks like he's going to be signing and possibly photo ops. So hey,
Where's that at
if
again?
anybody's out there, it is. Let me tell you what he sent up. It's Mahoning Drive-In Theater in Layton, PA, on the 4th of July, man. And I've been to something like this before, and usually when depending how big it is, the star usually will come out and say something. And
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
I love
I went
drive-ins.
to I went to something like this, and it was a Raiders of the Lost Ark, and there was an orchestra that did the soundtrack
Wow.
live. Yeah, and Indiana Jones's quote wife was there, and she came out, and then afterwards, we met her. I got pictures with her, autographs. It was really cool. So yeah, man, if anybody gets to go to that, that would be really really
Yeah,
cool.
do a report on it.
Uh,
Let us take some pictures and
oh
send us some
yeah, heck
pictures.
yeah.
Let us know how that goes, and you know, maybe even get him to say hello to us if you can. That'd be awesome. But yeah, I love
It would be.
drive-ins. Drive-ins have been one of my favorite things since I saw Star Wars for the first and probably second, third, fourth, and fifth time at the drive-in in where I grew up in.
Wow.
Well, there wasn't a whole lot going on in Casper, Wyoming, so
Oh boy,
that's where I grew up. So that's where we went and
that's
saw
so
the
sweet.
not Battlestar. I almost said Battlestar. Went and watched Star Wars for the first time.
Star Wars.
I saw Battlestar
I
at the
got to see it.
Rialto Theater downtown Casper,
Oh man,
Wyoming.
you got me beat on that one. I did not get to see Galactica in the theater. However, Star Wars, I saw it at what was known as the RKO Heath's Triplex in Flushing, New York, which was a Radio City Hall type of theater movie house, and it was elaborate. And it was a holdover from like the 30s,
Oh wow.
and it was just a beautiful movie theater. And you'd walk in, and you thought that you were like in Radio City. And I got to see Star Wars there, and it was just incredible. Rob Baum wants to know Logan's Run, the film or TV series,
Ooh. Well,
and so
the anniversary was for Logan's Run the film,
okay,
and I did watch the TV series though. I have bought the TV series on Amazon, and I watched it. Pardon me, I don't have a mute button, so if I burp, I apologize. Um, I usually have a mute button, but I don't have one on this setup. But yeah, I like the TV series. I thought it was pretty good.
I
I
did
didn't
too.
mind the
I
TV
did too.
series
It
at
was
all.
really
A
good.
lot of people poo-poo this TV series, but it was a
No,
really good
what's the matter with them?
continuation. You know, it had a robot and everything else, which kind of, that's there's
Whatever.
your. I believe that was in '75 or six. Oh well, anyways,
It definitely predates
predates Star
Galactica.
Wars. So the
Yeah,
first
it does.
android was there was can't say the first android. There was lots of androids out there, but there was
Oh yeah.
there was an android in that show. So surprised they didn't try to
Ah,
sue them like Star Wars tried to sue Battlestar.
yeah, no
Not because of the
kidding.
android
No
thing, but
kidding.
with everything else.
Yeah. Hey, Linda, thanks for joining us from the UK.
Oh yes,
Glad to have you.
she texted earlier. Said she was it's like midnight there and she's watching us. Wow, talk about a
Yeah,
diehard fan. We really appreciate that, by the way. That says something. And of course, you're probably just watching it because you can't sleep. I get it. But we hope we want to
we,
think to ourselves, she stayed up just to
yes,
watch us. Yeah.
because we're entertaining her. That's what it is. Anyway,
Or are we going
so
to put her to sleep? One of
Chris,
the two. It's midnight.
yeah, let's start that process. We have a couple of things. So I just want to show this off, and you were surprised because I hadn't mentioned this. I have
Yeah. Tell them
the
how long you've
Colonial
owned this.
Viper.
Hang on. Let me merge it over. Tell them how long you've owned this already.
Ready? Yes. So I've
And you've
had
never
this
opened it.
for never opened it. I've had it almost 2 years, and I'm gonna open it up today live. And so here you go. It's still sealed there. I'm gonna break it open. Whoop! There you go. See it actually I just ripped it. And
It actually
this thing is
disintegrated
it's
because
really
it was too
cool.
old.
Yeah, exactly. This thing is really really cool. So I'll just open up to
And
the
they're all blank pages.
middle one.
You got
Yes,
duped.
they're all blank pages. Check this out. Check this out.
Ooh. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Ah, yeah. That's just one of them. There's a series of them, and I'll pull out one more just real quick. The next one that comes out, and oh yeah, this is a good one. Check this out.
Of course, it's.
Yeah, these are like frameable. Look at that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, really cool. So anyway, I don't remember if he makes other ones, but maybe we'll have him
I thought
on.
he
I'll
thought he said he made a
contact him.
Tie Fighter one.
Yeah, he did. He did
Yeah.
make a TIE fighter. There's an X-Wing, but I don't remember if he did any other Galactica ones. I'll reach out to him. He made them himself, and really nice guy.
It'd be cool
But
to talk to
anyway,
him.
so
We get him
yeah,
on
I
the,
think
get
so,
him on
right?
the show.
All right, so I'll reach out to him. Prieto Harold is watching. Thanks for joining us. And so, listen, we have our John One, who
Yep.
is our news anchor, news sci-fi anchor, and why don't we bring him up? And then when we're done with that, we hopefully have a special guest tonight that's going to tell us all about the CYLON voices and the recording of the voice and his quest, his odyssey to replicate exactly how the CYLON sounded. And I'd read about him years ago. So let's bring up John and let John One. Let's see. He's got a whole report for us. So hopefully, if we're ready.
Give me a second, John. I'm pushing buttons over here, buddy. All right, John, you're on.
Hey, you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is John One reporting for Interfleet Broadcasting. Fox has released a trailer for its spin-off series, American Horror Stories. This stories will delve into myths, legends, and lores, horror stories, and just like the original show. Set to premiere July 15th. American Horror Story, not confusing at all, will premiere August 25th. Forrest Whitaker is set to reprise his role as Saw Gerrera on Disney Plus's Andor series. This series is going to be good. It's really going to pick up. The actors alone from Rogue One are going to be in it, and I think it's going to be good. I think the series is going to be a top contender, same with Acolyte, to be sticking around. Rangers of the New Republic are no longer in production. I wonder why. The first spin-off series from Game of Thrones has a release date. House of the Dragon will premiere January 1st, 2022. Happy New Year to all my Game of Thrones fans. Amazon's Lord of the Rings series has been pushed back due to COVID. Hopefully we'll just see it in the beginning of next year. Steven Spielberg signed on with Netflix to make movies. Hopefully they'll be good. We don't know. Hopefully they'll go back to his original series, but maybe he'll make some good movies. I'm still mad about the Adam Sandler contract. Netflix did. Movies were bad. The only good scene was the cow in the Western movie he did. Fans of Isaac Asimov will be happy to hear Apple Plus will premiere Foundations from the books. Anyone read them? Good.
I don't think I read the Foundations one.
Set to air September 2021. Games Workshop's Warhammer Plus will launch August 25th. It's a subscription model that merges digital content, new shows, smartphone apps for Warhammer 40K and Age of Sigmar, and numerous other productions that Warhammer does.
Oh.
Connecticut will be on September 9th to September 12th this year. Northeast Comic Con will be July 2nd to 4th, if anyone's in Boxborough, Massachusetts. And July, the Reading will have, Reading Pennsylvania will have the comic and toy collectible show, I think July 27th. And if anyone else has any news, anything you want to share with me, movie premieres, knickknacks, movie premieres, signings, you can get me at LoneCenturion1@gmail.com. Just give me a hello sign or anything to see if I set that email up correctly. and this is John One reporting for IFB. You all have a good night, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks,
Awesome,
John.
Thanks.
Outstanding. August 25th at Warhammer. I'm looking forward to that. That's one of my all-time favorite series. I've been reading those guys and the Space Marine stuff from like the beginning, right from the start. Nicholas Thomas, thanks for joining us. Clay Arden, of course, thanks, buddy, for joining.
Clay.
And yeah, Lee Jacobson, thanks for joining us. Appreciate the support. And so we got the news and updates. Oh, and the convention stuff was really cool.
Right.
So excellent. And we're actually going to AwesomeCon in DC, so that's scheduled.
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff popping up. Trey Narr is with us too. Trey, thanks for joining us. So yeah, conventions are popping up. There's a lot of them all kind of piling up in October. Denver Comic-Con is going to be over the Halloween holidays, so that might be on my radar. So we're going to have a talk about, Denver. And, there's New York Comic-Con, Denver, now there's Chicago. There's a non-sports trading card show that used to be around Allentown. They're back up. So there's a lot of stuff going on. What
Dragon Con.
did you just say?
Dragon Con.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's yours, man. I know. Don't rub it in, man.
Dragon
That's the only
Con.
reason you brought it up. We're supposed to go, and it was not possible for me this year. However, Chris is going to go. Have a lot of fun with that. And we are going to hopefully try to broadcast from Dragon Con.
Oh, we will.
We're going to work out. Yeah, we're going to do
It may not be
AwesomeCon
pretty,
for sure.
but it'll be there.
Yeah, and not to mention, of course, New York Comic Con. We're going to be there as well.
Yes.
So we'll try to do some broadcasting from there. And who knows, maybe John One will join us. That would be kind of cool.
That'd be cool.
So yeah, we're going to work out that whole
A staff
convention
meeting.
circuit. Yeah, face to face. Imagine that. I mean, the whole idea, Chris. Remember, we originally were going to do a lot of conventions, and so we've been on the air for a respectable
Over a
amount
year,
of time, and we were supposed to incorporate the whole convention scene, and COVID kind of.
That's originally how we
Amber
met. We were
on
going
it.
to go to the convention.
Yeah,
It never
exactly.
happened. So I don't know if this is a good thing or not. Hey, we're going to go to this convention. Watch, it's going to be like a nuclear bomb hits somewhere. We'll not go to that one either because of nuclear fallout or something.
There's a graphic novel about that. There's a convention that goes on, and a nuclear war or something, and they all get stranded in the convention for years. It's pretty funny.
I wonder what that one is. I'm going to have to look that one up. That sounds fun.
Oh, it is. It's really good.
That sounds like the Starbuck in the 25th Century one too. He's
Yes.
at a con and things happen. So if you've seen that graphic novel too, that's by Dirk. No, it's Dirk Benedict in the 25th Century. Is the name of that.
We got to
graphic
bring that
novel.
up. We should definitely bring that up. Well,
I would
maybe
bring it
next
up,
show,
but
we'll just-
it's not here. It's
it's
at
not
my other
here.
base star.
Yeah, so. Yeah.
It's at the library in the other base star. Speaking of libraries, we have to
Exactly.
talk about that tonight too. So how digital libraries just don't exist sometimes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So, all right. Well, all things. So let's move on. Chris, we are actually going to be later on in the show, we're going to be doing our next chapter 13, CYLON Death Machine,
Yes.
Star Galactica 2, right? Second book. Chris, when you hear the words CYLON Death Machine, you say what?
Rock on. Great band.
Yes, because that makes... Yeah. Gotta say it, man. If you
Great
don't say
band.
it, it's bad. Don't jinx it. Yeah. There you go. Hey, Jim, Thanks for joining us, man. Um, so we have the Cylon voice guy and Joe Granberg. We had a really good conversation with him, and he's going to be hopefully joining us later on. He sent us some. He sent us some stuff, some audio files, and we're gonna play those a little later. But in the meantime, we will continue to bring you guys up to speed with some of our things. You guys got to see our tricked out show from last week's show. I was in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and Chris was, I believe, home, and we
The
we
home
managed
star,
to.
yes.
Yes, you were at the Home Star, so we managed to get that going. And Joe is an awesome dude. Yes, he is, Trey. And we got to have a meet and greet with him. And man, he was telling us a lot of stuff. As a matter of fact, I had read a lot about his quest, his odyssey to put together that Cylon voice stuff years ago when he first started. And to be honest with all of you, I don't know if it was Dale Long that may have posted something about him, but I did read a whole article about his enthusiasm and his focus and all the work that he was doing to try to recreate the actual Cylon voice. It's really interesting to find out how it was done, and he tells it a lot better than I would. Although I never really thought about it. I'm sure everybody just figures, oh, the Cylon just talks and it goes through like some kind of synthesizer, but that's actually not what went on. And the late '70s, based on what he had mentioned to us, was a very special time. It was a transition between old tech and I guess like a newer tech, and he'll bring us up to speed. And so yeah, that's kind of like where we're gonna go in terms of our guest. So when he drops in, we will have a whole bunch of cool voice stuff. But in the meantime, I can tell you that Chapter 13 awaits us. And Chris, I think that this particular chapter, being that it starts out with some cool stuff, we might as well. It's up to you, Chris. You tell me how things are working on your end, and I mean, I'll go with the flow. If you want to start, then
We're good.
might as
Stand
well
by.
key up. All right.
Book versus episode.
All right, way cool, man.
All
So
right.
we're at chapter 13, which is page 108 in the book. So if anybody's reading, has read, or has intentions to read this episode, we're going to cover chapter 13. And like we usually do, we bounce back and forth between some of the visuals on the episode, and obviously the book has more to it. There's a little character development and depth to the stories. So we like to pick it apart because we have been looking into the fact that Robert Thurston had early copies of scripts and storylines that were incorporated in the first two books that obviously are different than the broadcast show or episodes. So, we like to read into the details a little bit, and I thought this one had some interesting things, especially since it starts with the Adama Journal. And Chris,
Yeah.
you jumped on a couple of things right off the bat.
So yeah, I love once again this part of the entire book is not anywhere near inside of the episode. So the Adama journals were usually episodes started out with Adama journals. Each chapter, not each well sometimes the chapter starts out with Adama journals, some don't. This one starts out with a great Adama journal, and this one's so I don't know. It's really I don't know. I'm trying to find a way to read into it somehow, and kind of link it up. It just seems like to me it just came out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, so here's Adama, and he's thinking back to when, I guess he was on Caprica, and there's this great Caprica story he wants, and he says, I wonder if when we finally outrun the Cylons and find the planet where they welcome us, which is kind of strange that he doesn't say we find Earth. We find a planet that welcomes us. It's like, okay, well, that kind of, you're supposed to be finding Earth. So, but they want to reconstruct the lost legends and books that weren't there anymore. And you have to think about that for a second, because if, like, our planet Earth was destroyed and we were all headed out to somewhere, what books and stuff could we take with us? I mean, if he says there's a bunch of digital books in their library, but the book that he's looking for, the Sharkey Star Rover, which is one awesome title, by the way. I love it. It's Sharkey Star Rover. I mean, that one just comes out of nowhere too. He's like, wow. So he's sad that it's not in the computer banks, and he's like, he almost starts like an entire search throughout the fleet to find a book. Know, and so it's neat, and there's some really things that come out in this book that I thought was kind of interesting. But it wasn't preserved in the computer banks, or it wasn't worthy of taking with them. I wonder, I'm kind of curious, what if you could select a book, our audience that's listening now, what, let's make this easy. It's not a Battlestar book. What book would you bring with you? And we'll look at those in a couple of minutes as we go, so we'll give you a chance to answer
that's
those.
A good one.
But what book would you take, would you make sure that we could take with us? And me, it would probably be Spaceball. Just kidding.
No, my God, I was going to shoot you with a
See, if
laser.
I could take a book
in the
with
red
me,
eye.
I would have to, of course, Battlestar would be one of the books I would take. But if it wasn't Battlestar, I would probably take a book by, it was called Wool. I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank on who the author was, but it's a story about them being trapped in a silo for many, many years, and the wool piece is, if you mess up inside the silo, they send you outside to clean the camera lens that looks outside off, and that's a death sentence. You die because you go out there with a piece of wool and you clean the camera lens off, and then you wander off and you die on the hillside, and there's multiple people there. So cannot remember who. I want to say I'll look it up when Pete's talking or something. I'll figure out the name, but it's a really good book. That's probably the book I would take.
It's pretty
Pete?
twisted.
It's a good sci-fi book.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Big Jim in Toledo, Ohio, back in the Bay Star. So I just had to read that off because that sounded pretty cool. Yeah, man. All right, so Chris Tucker is with us live. Thanks for joining. Clay Arden sounds like a Daggett with really sharp teeth. Oh, Jim says The Martian Chronicles.
Yep, Andy Weir. That? Yeah, Andy Weir. I just got his new book too, by the way.
John Van Gostein says, hi, Howie, or Hugh Howie.
Hugh Howie, that's it. Hugh Howie.
Yeah. Yep.
Really good book.
So, yeah, man. I think I would take the Iliad and the Odyssey.
Really?
What? One of the greatest stories ever told, man. You could reread that forever. It has been.
I would reread it forever and not understand a word, probably. That's why you could reread that story forever, because you have to
take the helmet off.
You have to reread it like 500 times to figure out what it meant the first time.
Oh, you just gotta come on, man. I gotta buy. See, Chris. First things first. You gotta buy one that's in English. You're not gonna understand it if you buy the Greek one. Don't bother with the Greek one.
It's actually written in English.
You'll be fine.
It's actually written in English? I didn't know they even had one in English. Even the English one doesn't make sense to me.
You're reading them in different languages.
You're supposed to read that from back to front, or some, like, is it like your own adventure type thing, you know?
At one time, educated the way they would rate your education was how many lines you could actually recite verbatim, and depending on how far into it you could get, showed how much how intellectually powerful you were. So
Okay,
Chris,
so I guess I can recite Spaceballs on a number of occasions, but that doesn't count, right?
No.
I could like do multiple lines of Spaceballs. I could not do one line of whatever. So does Spaceballs count for the number of lines I could do? I also do Blazing Saddles, but
See on the galley as they're traveling from like the Minoan from Crete to Athens. Be like, okay, who doesn't know any of this? Out, you're swimming, buddy.
I'd be
Drop
like,
you into the
I know Spaceballs.
out with him. You can't entertain us.
I can definitely
Spaceballs
entertain
is the
people
new-
with Spaceballs.
Oh, get this. So Clay comes in with the save for you and says, Spaceballs is the new Iliad? For Chris it is.
There you go. So we have any
Very
votes
good.
on books? Anybody else?
Ludicrous speed. That's what
Yes.
Razor Ramon says. Ludicrous speed. Excellent.
Yeah. My Schwartz is as big as
Come
yours.
on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, give us some more books. There's got to be more books that you would take with you. Stuff that
Andy
you would
Weir
read.
book,
Mediocre Modeler.
Yeah, is good.
Yeah.
Mediocre
What?
Modeler what?
Yes. Well, I was going to say, I was watching his recount on the convention that he went to, and he was debating on some custom items that he was going to further customize his
That's right,
Mandalorian colonial warrior. So we are watching you carefully, my friend. We're going to watch to see where that goes.
So, anyways,
yeah.
none of us are evidently taking Sharkey Star Rover because it doesn't exist anymore because somebody forgot to put it on Battlestar Galactica.
Yep, that's right. Mediocre Model says, I only read the book that begins with Star. So Star Wars or Star Trek? Okay, yeah. Yeah, as a matter of fact, the original book that Gene Roddenberry wrote for Star Trek The Motion Picture is way different than obviously what we saw in the movie. Oh, yeah, it is. It's pretty good. I used to have a signed copy. Oh, yeah. In one of them, in one of the, I think it's in the opening or in the beginning of that book, he talks about how on Earth they actually empty out the Mediterranean Sea. And so the seabed is like a museum. And so everybody can visit that as a museum. It's kind of weird.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Colonial Mandalorian is pretty cool. Maybe a Buck Rogers one. Whoa.
Yeah, they put Buck Rogers helmet together.
Uh-oh. I don't know about that. Anyway, so we were talking about Adama and his loss of the book. And I thought it was interesting. Yeah, Chris, that point that you made is spot on. I remember when I first read this back in, the late 70s when the book first came out. I mean, I jumped all over it, and it was a way to give some context to these people that had lost everything. And so whatever they had with them, and Adama mentions that. So like I'd thought about that watching the actual show, on your downtime, doodling in school when you're supposed to be listening to your French teacher. All you think about is Battlestar Galactica.
French.
And all I kept thinking about, what?
I couldn't even master English.
In Wyoming?
Yeah.
In Wyoming, you didn't learn French?
No.
You didn't take French? No.
I couldn't master English. Come on.
So, I was like, holy mackerel, their whole world, all their 12 colonies are gone. And all they have is what's available in their database and whatever libraries, if they had, people may have saved some books and stuff. So I thought that was interesting when it came up.
Whatever you could have
in
on
the
your
Atomic
Kindle
Journal.
at the time, I guess,
Yeah, exactly.
Think about it that way.
Hitchhiker's Guide. John Van Gostein says a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy might come in handy. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. So so when Adama says that this book that he's read so many times, and it's not in their archive. He also mentions, Chris, that in terms of entertainment, right? So this is the first time that we actually have any type of reminiscing on what is not there.
Right.
So there is an IFB. Yeah, there's an IFB in Galactica, right? We don't know what ship they're on. They're on one of the ships and they broadcast.
Right.
So there are some type of journalists or reporters that are actually broadcasting, and we see that, and that's great. But he makes the point of saying a lot of their entertainment will never be seen ever again.
Unperformed entertainment.
Performed entertainment, right? So I guess their form of their stage or theater or anything like that is totally gone.
Which kind of goes back to this is also put down as a Greek. So you got Apollo and everything. You've got a kind of a Greek influence to Battlestar Galactica. So now we're talking about entertainment and performances. This is kind of I think it pulls back to a actual like a performance at a Greek theater, because he mentions unperformed entertainments. I mean, what could be, it gives you, what entertainments did they do? What kind of entertainments did they have? Always makes you wonder. You don't get to see it in the show, but what was entertaining. So, but you get to listen to Sharkey Star Rover. So, and I'm guessing the reason why he's looking for this book, in my opinion, is he probably wants to read it to Boxy. I mean, it doesn't say that here.
Well, that's a good point.
But
that's a really good point.
I think he wants to say it to Boxy. You're frozen.
Oh, that's really cool because he mentions that he would read to Zach, and they would act out.
I lost you. Great. All right, Pete. I lost you. There you are. Now I'm back. Now you're back.
Like they would play like Zach. I think is the one that was playing one of the two characters in the book. So it was kind of interesting. So yeah, I didn't think of that. That's a good point. That maybe he wanted to read it to Boxy, and then so the entertainment part. Clay Arden says the Comtel ship has the IFB on it. Thank you for that. And Mediocre Modeler mentions how much time will they have for entertainment when they're just trying to survive? Well, yeah, that's a big part of it. And that's kind of like what I always got in the show, Chris. It was like it's moving fast. We're watching, because there's constantly something going on. They're constantly, fighting to survive. But they do play they play Triad, right?
That's right. In the later episodes, they play Triad. So they have to have something to do, I guess. But I mean, granted, there's probably repairs that need to be done all the time, and planning and research, and there's probably food to be cooked. These are things you don't get to see. Where did where's all the cooked food coming from, and who's cooking it, and where's the mess decks? Where's the in the Navy we would call them mess cranks. Those people who are in charge of making food. The mid-rats, nighttime, midnights. When do you go eat? You see them drinking a lot, though, so there's definitely a bartender.
Yes, that's for sure. Not to mention there's the ship that they are, the casino ship, right?
Yep. So there's our entertainment outlets, but you don't get to see any of the like I said, the entertainments that didn't get performed, the theater.
Right. Linda says the Dune collection, and that's a lot of reading. I read the first one. It's a good one. So that's excellent.
I can at least read that and understand it compared to the other one you talked about. So.
Oh boy. Hey Sean, thanks for joining us, man. BSG 14, Surrender the Galactica. They highlight a theater troupe. That's one form of entertainment. Oh yeah, of course.
About that.
Adama mentions they partake in music, theater, and ceremony on small scale during journal entry in Take the Celestra. How about that? Put that in your pipe.
There
Thanks,
you go.
Sean. Yeah. So at least at this point, though, he brings it up, and it's really fascinating that they're now like reminiscing, and I don't know. He starts talking about how he would like to reconstruct it, and Chris, you mentioned that he was getting kind of desperate. He
Yeah,
almost
so,
he
yeah,
almost
he's
put the
getting
word out.
desperate. So then he says like, well, maybe I can use it, like back in back in the old days, you just by word of mouth. Let me just recite the story, and he finds out that he doesn't remember a lot of it.
Yeah,
So
but
it's an old
it's
age thing,
he doesn't
Cylons don't
remember
have that problem.
that well. They just either know it or don't. It's
Yep.
either everything or nothing. But he does go on to give us a really good outline of the book anyway,
Yeah.
right? So he says like he couldn't really recall the details, but the bigger scope, like the bigger picture of the story, he does remember,
Right.
which is kind of cool, man. I was like, wow, that's pretty good.
But did you catch it?
Um, well, what I got was there's at the very end of it, he ends up. You were saying that it was a stretch for you. I identified with the very end of it. That's how it all made sense in
Right.
the
He mentions
greater
it kind of
scheme of
connects up
things.
that way.
Yeah, but I mean what I got into when I first read it, I just went with the fact that there is a gap in their um, you know their survival, and that's who knows how much of their history they've actually lost. So, but he was saying now that the story is about a kid, right, that escapes an asteroid, and he leaves on a shuttle, right? So he watches enough pilots that he kind of is able to fly a shuttle, and he absconds with it. He's a teenager, and at some point he actually I'm looking at my notes. He meets up with an alien, and the alien is described as a blob, which is kind of
Jameson.
weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jameson. Jameson's a blob. But one of the things that Adama mentions is that there is an affinity, and there is a friendship, a strong relationship between
I don't know.
the
I'd go
kid.
farther. I would go farther than that.
Yeah, it is. It's possible because he says he wished that he could embrace the blob, but he can't, right?
Right.
And but it also illustrates that the colonials are not rejectful of they're not xenophobic, so when they encounter aliens they don't outright reject them or want to kill them or
Cylons.
like Cylons. Yeah, they're
What
they're
the hell?
weird. Yeah, they're deadly. They're machines.
They're
They're
not
like
machines
Borg.
in the book. But I think you missed
It
something in the
doesn't matter.
beginning,
They're
though. So,
evil.
so yeah,
They're
he's a
evil.
boy. He escapes these military asteroids. His parents are military. His dad
It's
is
a wreck.
is a wreck. It actually it describes him as a hophead. So
Yes,
I'm guessing that's
a beer.
maybe he's an alcoholic. Maybe that's how they describe alcoholic as a hophead. Um, and his mother is a shrew.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
these are interesting terms used in the
yes.
book to describe
Yep.
his home life. So yeah, he wants to get away from his home life. His dad is uh, a, uh, a veteran who
Yep.
is I guess is it legless? I want to make sure I say that he's just disabled. My eye automatically went with legless. I don't know why. Um, you,
I didn't pick. Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know why I jumped to that,
mentioned
but
it
he's a
really
disabled
quickly.
veteran. He's coped with his combat record by becoming a hophead. His mother coped with the father by turning into a shrew, and Sharky vows to escape, and he watches things, people fly shuttles, and he finally steals a shuttle and escapes the asteroids, military asteroids, which is another thing you just have to wonder what the heck that was.
Yeah.
But
It says his disabled veteran father coped with his combat record by becoming a hophead, and his
yep.
mother coped with the father by turning into a shrew.
Are we hopheads?
So
Okay.
I don't know. I thought hop. I just thought of beer. That's what
Yeah,
came
I
to
think
me.
could be drugs, could be beer.
It could be drugs. Yeah, it could be. Um, as a side note, Mediocre Modeler says, "So glad to see that gambling survives the destruction of the human race." Well, yeah, well, there was the Rising Star was one of the only ships that got out, and it was it was a gambling ship. So yeah, I mean let's see. Trey says Sharkey Star Rover was Zach and Apollo's Battlestar Galactica. Okay, yeah, yeah, something like that. So yeah, I mean, and so this
Yeah.
obviously, guys, has nothing to do with the episode or
At
the
all.
the shows themselves.
Right.
Yeah, at all. And it's a little bit of the kind of like a backstory. And let's see. So Sharky gets the shuttle, befriends the alien blob, and there is like you said, there's something going on. You know what it reminds me of? There's a great original Star Trek episode, I think it's called Metamorphosis, where the original creator of warp speed is trapped on a planet, and there's this energy creature that keeps him alive, and it interacts with him.
I don't remember that one.
Oh, that's a good one. And it turns out that the creature was in love with him and kept him alive because the guy's like, like hundreds of
Sounds
years
like
old.
the Salt Monster
But
one too.
yeah. Which yes, wouldn't kill the guy that
Right.
she was the last of her kind, and the guy was
Yeah.
an archaeologist. Yeah, which is kind of cool. That's right. So hophead can mean drug addict or drunkard. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So,
So
either or.
I like.
That's thanks to
yeah.
Ramon.
So they have these great adventures, and I guess it's all in one book. From gathering, it's not multiple books because he's only mentioning one book.
Yeah, just the one.
So,
Yeah.
but the thing I highlighted was so there's all sorts of moments in which they narrowly escape capture because somebody's told them about the stolen shuttle and he's flying stolen shuttles, but there was a meditation of Sharky's in which he almost said he wished that real love were possible between a human and a member of Jameson's race. All right. What do they mean by that? I mean, real love, is that beyond just the emotional, or are we talking physical? So,
Oh, it sounds.
it,
You're right. It sounded like it was a little bit of a
physical.
physical thing because he said that Sharky couldn't actually hug the blob.
Right,
So, and he wishes that it could take like a human form. So,
right. So this
Huh.
can be read a couple of different ways. I mean, he never really said he wanted to embrace Jameson, so is that like a closet thing? Um, and he couldn't remember if he held on to how you couldn't hold on to Jameson no matter how hard you tried. So, plus, we don't know if Jameson is male or female. It doesn't say. So we're
correct.
guessing here.
Yeah.
Once again, totally guessing, or we're just trying to.
But
But it was clear that Sharky's
it
fantasy included Jameson magically transforming into a human shape, so they could embrace. So
right.
that was
And it says something about them being able to communicate, which I
Right.
thought was interesting. So Jameson, the blob, the
Right.
alien, and Sharky, they talk between each other, they communicate between each other, which I thought was interesting as well. It's like if it's a blob, how does it talk with Sharky? Unknown, but that's something that was a part of this. So I just thought it was interesting in and of itself. Yeah. So this whole thing goes on for a little while, and Sharky, he actually is he goes on these mini adventures with
Jameson.
the Blob, Jameson, yeah, and that's part of this novel. And so there's like little mini stories within this book, and it highlights their friendship
Yep.
and some of the things that they go through. One of them is a den of thieves that
Right.
Sharkey infiltrates, and
And
at
then
the end,
Jameson rats on him, or
yeah,
comes in and
yeah. Well,
discovers
no,
him.
yeah, but Sharkey was
Oh, that
playing
was
the
interesting.
role. Yeah, do not touch your eyeballs again.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, don't do that. Whatever you do, don't touch your eyes.
That was
And
really interesting.
yeah, you touch your eye, and right away things almost went bananas. Yeah. So the idea is that so Sharky and his friend Jameson are traveling around, and at one point they meet up with a den of thieves, and or a group of thieves, and they thwart the heist
Right.
at some point, right? And it shows a little bit of I guess Sharky's his who he is, like his character, and as well as Jameson as well. So these guys are on the good side of the spectrum, and that was so. Adama's reminiscing about this. He's putting this story together, and then it leads us to sort of like the last act of the book, right? The last part of the book, which
Not
Adama
not the book we're
admits
reading. The book that they're talking about.
that yeah, Sharky's book,
Sharky.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, the Sharky. Yeah,
Sharkey
so
Star Rover.
Adama admits Star Rover that it doesn't have a strong ending.
Yeah, he says
It's
it's
not that memorable.
flawed. He's a flawed ending.
It's
Yeah,
flawed.
flawed. He says
Yes.
he still feels the sadness at the end of the book because at the end of the book, Sharky gets captured and Jameson's captured, and they're like, okay, well, Sharky's going back home to mom and dad. Who are they cleaned up? We don't know.
Yeah.
There's he's estimating that they could have possibly cleaned up or whatever else, but the Jameson could never live on the asteroid. They would ridicule him and make fun of him and those kind of things, and that gives this really he feels sad at the end of the book, but he
Yeah.
says at the end of all this
Yes.
he says it was flawed. It was a really bad book, and maybe that's why they didn't put it on the ship, you know. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Right?
and he
So
says is
he
that
comes
perhaps some misguided programmer librarian thought, well, good reason not to include it in the library because it sucked.
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
not what they said, but kind of giving you the idea that this
Yeah.
book really sucked, but Adama liked it a lot. So
He did, but he didn't like it for the ending, right? That
right,
was part of it. It wasn't the ending was not good. It was really sad. They separate the two. They tell Sharky that it's in your best interest because Jameson will not he won't be able to adapt or something. So they separate the two, and it kind of that's kind of like almost like a horrible ending. However, by the end of the journal, right? So Adama's journal. Adama now, to wrap up his entry, he states that the book and its characters reminded him of their own quest for Earth. So, like the trials and tribulations of, Sharky, the character Sharky in this book, and Jameson, the alien, and everything that they go through, including, I guess, the sadness of how they have to separate, which is probably, you know, a metaphor for the fleet having to leave their colonies behind thanks to the Cylons who are evil and destroyed and killed everybody.
hey, wait a
And
minute.
so, yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's where this, the concept of the book itself, where they separate the sadness in that, and then the fact that it kind of reminds Adama of, the quest for Earth, going back home, and that's where Sharky's going, hoping that, like, Chris had mentioned that the parents were maybe, okay now. It had been some time since he had been gone, so there you go. I guess, I mean, it took us a while to get to this. We had to actually, kind of tease it out. But I think this is what it's about. It's about this.
Right, and he says it at the end, I think. Where's
Yeah.
that? Sharky's quest for a more adventurous life seems so similar to our quest for Earth, which I
Yeah.
don't see the similarities myself. Maybe you can see the similarities since you can quote Iliad or whatever the heck it was.
Iliad and the Odyssey.
Maybe you have the understanding of humans that you can actually connect these things up, because I certainly can't connect Sharkey Star Rover to the story here other than they're in the space, because Sharkey Star Rover is escaping from a horrible life, which in this case it's not Battlestar Galactica is not escaping from a horrible life. They're getting bombed into a horrible life.
Destroyed world. What do you mean they're not this? Their everything they know has been just destroyed. Man. What are you talking?
That's not Sharkey Star Rover. He wasn't destroyed. He left home. He's like, later. So I don't see the connection there. And then
yeah, but his house was it was miserable, man. It was truly miserable living there.
So you're trying to tell me that Caprica and all the other planets were miserable, and the Cylons helped you out by destroying them? Okay, I'm okay with that. Okay, we can go with that. I see the connection now.
You're definitely. We got to do something with those nanites that you've injected yourself with. Because you're a wreck, man. You're all over the place.
So,
however, so look, bottom line is this is how Adama's journal ends, and chapter 13 picks up with Adama and the bridge crew are like there's like this a second where Adama, he kind of feels this break in things, right? There's like a sort of almost like a calm, and then all of a sudden things go nuts, right? Things just blow up. Not literally, just things just happen, insanely. So that's where we go. Like it just starts out, and then pandemonium on the bridge.
Right. So yeah. So now we're into the chapter 13, and the bridge is all good and everything's nice and quiet, but they're all on edge, and because they're expecting an attack. And so it talks. I mean, I like it. They talk about everybody's examining their screens, and it describes Adama's large, knobby hands gripping and ungripping the railing along the Starfield walkway, which is something we haven't heard of before. We know it's there, but the Starfield walkway, it actually has a name now. So the bridge area where you can actually walk across on the top. And then, of course, one of the bridge officers, like, and it talks about Ty ripping the corners off, which I don't know if that also has some foreshadowing to the Ron Moore Battlestar Galactica, where the edges are gone. I know Ron Moore says, they had to cut corners, and that's why he says they actually cut the corners on some of the things. But here inside the book, he's talking about ripping the corners off. So maybe there's some foreshadowing there.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know if it was purposely done or not, but I think it's kind of neat. And looking for something, we're gonna happen something. They're all nervous, and then one of the bridge officers finally speaks up, and it's like pandemonium. It's like ah, which is great. Cylons are coming. Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, they're on their way, man.
Hey,
and there's some
squadron.
interesting facts. Yes, there's some interesting information about the actual Cylon ships that are being used. So I picked up a couple of details
from before too.
So, yeah, but there was something else in here that I had to bring up.
Attack phalanx.
Yes, that's right. But we already knew that because the Imperious leader made it quite clear that this is what he's doing. Mm-hmm. So we kind of knew this. We had that, insider information. but I thought it was interesting that first of all, obviously the Cylons get picked up on the very edge of their monitors, and so Adama scrambles Blue Squadron like immediately, and he sends them out. So he's doing his thing, and you know they have their own plan. But there was some really good info. It was kind of juicy in terms of detail. Now, again, Chris and I, we've talked about this before. We don't know if this is Thurston himself, or is this really what Larson had in mind. It's really unknown, but we're getting this information, and it's really kind of interesting. So, and obviously it has nothing to do with what was broadcast or filmed for that matter. But Blue Squadron is scrambled, and the Cylon Phalanx is confirmed on approach. Viper pilots send back images of the Cylon fighters. So that in and of itself, I thought was kind of cool. So they're able to tap into their whatever their imagery, whatever they're using on their Vipers to pick up, whatever's out there, and they
Right.
tap into that on the bridge, and they get to see the Cylon fighters. They describe them though. So now remember from what we
Yes,
read,
this is really
before,
interesting.
these are the drone ships that Volpa had created, and Chris, it's flat-looking and multi-layered.
Flat looking but
So-
multi-layered.
Yeah,
So
isn't that's yeah.
that's totally different than what we thought about before. So is multi-layered the idea that the two Cylons sit below and one Cylon sits above? Is that multi-layered? Or is this multi-layered
No,
like
who knows?
it's a ship that has multiple decks? Which is what
Yeah.
I get out of it, which is really strange because
right?
that's new. Never heard of that before.
Yeah,
Where
Yeah,
did
yeah,
we
yeah.
get a multi-layered raider from? Or I'm sorry, Cylon ship. We don't even call them raiders.
no.
Cylon fighters.
There's no, yeah. So,
I got so
that's
stressed I had to
very,
open up
very
another
interesting.
beer.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So
Is that that's the first of many tonight, or is that just?
that's the second one. This
pretty
one's
much.
ready.
Oh, what is that?
Blind Pirate.
Blind Pirate. Yeah, I'm
That's a
very
local.
surprised that's your other obsession, that you have this strange
Atlanta.
attraction, magnetism
Yeah.
for pirates. I'm not sure what that's about.
Yeah, we can talk
You're
about
gonna
it
have to
later.
explain that sometime.
Sorry, I jumped off subject. But yeah, the multi-layered Cylon fighters. First blast from the Cylon weapon was directed at Blue Leader 1. And it's funny that they're like, oh, we saw it coming. So I'm thinking to myself, all right, I don't like being picky because I love Battlestar Galactica. But if they can get the video from the Viper into the bridge, when they got shot down at the Mount Hecla,
Yeah.
why wasn't that automatically being transmitted to the bridge? Maybe it was a distance thing. I don't know, but
Well, yeah, but we did get to see some in the episode.
right.
We
But
got
it
to
was
see
recorded,
some.
and they brought
They
it
did
to the
record it.
bridge.
Right, they brought it to the bridge. Let me just tell you that Lola tells us it's the adventures they are going through, and I agree with that. And Mediocre Modeler mentions that the Galactica always felt like a journey of blind faith. Yes, agreed, totally. Linda says, one happy toaster. That's referencing you, of course. And, of course, a one-eyed Cylon would drink a beer called Blind Pirate.
There you
Exactly,
go.
right? It
That's
makes
a
total
good
sense,
point.
yeah.
There you go.
And John Van Gostein says Ice Pirates was funnier than Spaceballs. Pirates
I don't
won.
think so. I have to disagree on that one. So, but all right, back to multi-level
Well-
Cylon fighters. We need to figure out what they look like. I'm just kind of blown away. So
It sounds interesting, though.
yeah,
It really does.
I want to see. I want to see one of those.
Well, I don't know if we ever will, but yeah,
Well, we're
well,
gonna have
that's
to
part of it.
invent it ourselves. I mean,
We could.
yeah,
Why not? But this is
multi-layered,
so. Look,
multi-level.
this is
Sorry,
this is
multi-layered, multi-level.
part of then this chapter, which is actually not very long. They do talk about then the battle that ensues, right? So
Right.
they're able to pick up this imagery, and it's from Blue Squadron, and then they talk about the battle itself, and there's a double kill registered by a cadet. So
But it wasn't a
that's
kill. That's what I like about it.
it was a. What are you talking about?
Not a double kill.
What? It was a double kill, man.
You need to read on.
Oh, listen, I'm not. I'm talking about minute by minute. One Viper lost and one good pilot, but that doesn't mean anything, okay?
And how many
So,
Cylons were killed in this battle? Come on.
oh, there's a lot. There's a lot. Um,
Oh, hang on. We're gonna have to disagree on that one.
we're gonna yeah. These are fighting words right now.
So,
I'm like
we'll,
I'm,
we'll,
I'm
we'll
waiting.
get there. We'll get there. I don't want to jump ahead, but so Galactic
Okay,
Blue
'cause,
Leader, transmitted bridge officer, engage. So I find it funny that they tell Blue Squadron to patrol the back, and of course they mention
Yes, yes, which they are doing. Yes.
right. They send them out. Really not a patrol. It should be to protect. So anyways, I kind of found that funny that they used patrol, and they also used some sector names, which is something
Yes,
we haven't
they
heard
did.
of before either.
That's right.
What was it? Omega? No. Or
I think
that.
Omega was part of it, but there was. Well, we can just find it.
Yeah.
There is. By the way, we might be getting a late call. Well, let's see. I'm gonna find this. It
Where's that?
says he tells them what sector. He tells them the sector. Hold
Sigma
on.
Sigma through Omega.
Yes,
Scramble
Sigma
Blue
through
Squadron.
Omega.
Patrol rear sectors
Yes.
Sigma through Omega.
Sigma through Omega. That's right. Yes.
So Omega is the end. Where does
Yeah.
Sigma fall in the Greek alphabet?
Well, that's. Do you want me to go through the alphabet?
So
I was going to
alpha,
read you a part
alpha,
of the
beta.
Iliad.
What's that? Go ahead. The Iliad. No.
Yeah, I was going to read you a section of the Iliad.
We will lose all of our viewers if you start reading the Iliad. It'll be a matter of time before they're like, oh no, that's way too deep for me. But yeah, Sigma through Omega. I wonder where Sigma is in the Greek alphabet.
It's about like six or seven letters from Omega.
Omega. So yeah, so you imagine now that we kind of get an idea of how these sectors are kind of put out behind it. But they're go patrol it, which it should be go protect it instead of. But anyways, so they're the bridge officer. They protect the freighters. Wait a minute. What freighters?
Yes, that's right.
So this is kind of new. I mean, we know that there's other ships in the fleet, but they kind of really never came across freighters before. So now we're looking at freighters. At first, when I read that, I read it too fast, and my mind put in fighters, and I'm like, what?
No, freighters.
But it says freighters.
Freighters. Yes, and there's something else interesting about those freighters. Right, the slower freighters with heavy artillery.
Yeah, and there's another thing is they mentioned in book 1 they did mention heavy artillery before, and then here we are in book 2 and we're talking about heavy artillery, which is you see them flipping the laser turrets things inside the show. Here they're talking about artillery, and it's funny though that they say it almost like the artillery is not attached to the freighters or to anything else. It's like they brought the artillery to those things because the way they read it, it's like,
They're
oh yeah,
we're deployed.
I'm imagining for some weird reason a colonial warrior on the outside with a big frickin' cannon wheeling it around.
Yeah. Or he's got Stinger missiles or something, right?
Because
it's kind of cool.
Because they say they're actually saying deploy these artillery to the rear of the fleet.
Yeah.
What?
Isn't that wild?
How do you so they're not attached to the freighters. Somehow they're not attached.
No, correct. And on top of that, there's also this idea that Athena wants to be deployed.
Yeah, that's where you get some of this information too, because Athena's like, oh, let me. You're going to have to. And another thing is said that they're going to have to take. Adama walked away from her. Oh, hang on. Where's it at? A double kill. Really wasn't a kill. We'll talk about that in a minute. Adama walked away from the expressionless. Blue Squadron Vipers retreated to the distance, become points again. The fighter approached. We got ships. They'll be back like in packs, like wolves. What do your reports show, Ty? And what does it say? We got ships again, but not CYLON personnel.
Yeah, because it's those, right? It's the drones.
Right. So who's up on this deal? You're down one pilot. We're down a couple ships. 0.
Oh God! Attaching a gun to the outside of a ship worked for Serenity.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Pete doesn't like Firefly, so you're not going to be good with this one.
Oh, brought it up. Had to bring it up. Firefly.
Pete doesn't like Firefly.
How about some Farscape?
We just lost probably half our people again. Way to go, Pete. Yep. You don't like Firefly, and you don't like
Farscape. Farscape, man.
I do like Farscape. I'm season 3 right now, I think. Rewatch.
Oh, you did? I thought you stopped.
No, I get back when I can.
A little Firescape, a little bit of Continuum in there. Come on, man.
So
it's all good stuff.
So the ships, they're down a Viper. One good pilot.
Mediocre modeler says,
ask me, it probably wasn't a good pilot if he got shot down. So they're down, one Viper and one good pilot. They just lost vehicles. So if he was a good pilot,
yeah, they did.
I don't know if you really want to call him a good pilot if he got shot down. That's just me.
Oh,
being the CYLON guy.
How about the CYLONs don't deserve to be doing any of this? And I am offended. And by the way, when we were talking about the Star Trek episode, it's called Metamorphosis, and it's Cochran, right? He's the guy. Yeah. He's the guy that's on the planet, and he's disappeared. Like nobody knows whatever really happened to him. But Jim Kirk finds him.
That's not the salt monster one, though, right?
No. That's
similar, but it's not the same one.
Rob brought it up. It's similar, but it's not. No, Metamorphosis is a different episode. And I think it's Zefram Cochrane is the creator of Zefram Cochrane. He's the creator of the warp drive, and he leaves. He goes off on his own, and he crash lands on this planet, and there's a creature on the planet that keeps him alive for like hundreds of years. And Kirk and Spock finds him.
We are total ADD tonight, man.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell?
So, here we go. Wait a minute. Star Trek. Battlestar. Wait a minute.
No, Battlestar.
Where are we at now?
Starbuck got shot down twice, and he's the greatest pilot. There you go.
See?
Oh, Linda says, I love Firefly and Mal Reynolds. Yes, Mal Reynolds. That's right. Yeah. Yes. So, yep.
So, all right. Back to the book.
No.
So,
back to the book. All right.
So we got Athena here. Athena. I love.
Oh yeah.
Anyways,
your favorite. I didn't want to step all over it. So
I have to wait a minute. Athena. So she's a CYLON. She has to be. Anyways,
Oh, she's not. What's the matter with you?
She's
This
too
is
good
not the
looking
real
to be.
vision.
She's too good looking to be
In
a yeah.
the new
Colonial.
show, she can be whatever you want her to be. We're a little bit. The needle's more towards 1978. No, she's
Yes,
not.
I know. So Athena, she's eavesdropping in the conversation with the father and the aide.
Yep.
You know, they're talking about the things. Hey, we need to. I think he says, was it deploy? Hang on, I want to make sure. Station a few warriors on the slower freighters with heavy artillery to blast the pilotless aircraft that might get through next time. So they're going to have to take colonial warriors, and you read on, and it's actually colonial Viper pilots on the ships with. So they're going to deploy these pilots with the artillery, heavy artillery, which, once again, I'm imagining somebody out on the skin of a ship with a bazooka for some reason. So
That's cool, man. Yeah, mortar. It's a mortar.
yeah,
It could be like some kind of artillery piece. Mediocre Modeler says, aren't there 3 Cylons on every ship? Yes, there are, but these are drones that Vulpa creates based on the book, which
right,
of course
based on
is
the book.
Not in the
They're
episode
not actual
at all.
There's no so.
Yeah. No, and Sean
Cylons 1
mentioned.
Colonial 0 in this one.
Oh, come on. I didn't like Firefly during its original run. I acquired a taste for it later when I bought the box set.
Yeah.
I might give it another shot. Maybe we should do like a watch. We should all watch or something.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Someday.
Do a walkthrough.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. We'll get everybody up, and we'll watch a favorite episode or something of Firefly to try to get me to like it. So
Athena, she's eavesdropping. I'm gonna pull you back in. Hang on, this way. Actually, in your case, it's that way. So Athena eavesdropping conversation between her father and aide. Adama whispered to Adama and whispers. Just thinking of Athena whispering, "Let me go."
Oh boy, I'm back.
Let me go.
I'm pulling you back.
Let me go. Go where? I love this. She said, "Give me some heavy artillery, comma, station me on a." All right. So first of all, that's 2. So give me some heavy artillery, and station me on a, and then she doesn't get to finish the thing. So you can give one of these people heavy artillery and station them on a ship.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm thinking of the bazooka on the outside of the ship.
Come on.
She'd be a sexy bazooka holder, but still. I told you we need you here. So Adama, is he protecting her again because he's the daughter, or she's the daughter? Wow, he's the daughter is a bad idea. She's his daughter.
Like all over the place yourself, man.
So is he protecting her because she's her daughter? She's his daughter. Wow, I really can't talk tonight. I need another beer, actually.
No, you can't. Sip some more.
Yeah. So but he says, is that the case, or does he really need her in the we call it in the Navy the CIC, the Combat Information Center, or the bridge in this case. So does he really need her there? Is he trying to protect her? It's always been the question in regards to, is he trying to protect her? Plus, I'd like to say on this also that you see a lot more dialogue with Athena and a lot more interactions in the book with Athena, because she was supposed to have many more lines, and she was supposed to be a major person in the show.
Yeah.
She was a major person in the show, but they took away her lines and things like that because they said she couldn't act and things like that. I said, totally disagree. I loved her acting. But I mean, there's a lot more lines in the book. So here's this fight against, father-daughter thing again. This was in the main book, the very first book, Battlestar Galactica book. And, it's always this tug of war between, is she a subordinate that works in CIC, or is she my daughter? And am I trying to protect her? So you see this back and forth, but she's like, give me some heavy artillery, let me go out there. Give me a bazooka, Dad. I'll go sit on the skin of the ship and shoot at the Cylons when they come back. But he's like, no. But he's also said that he's going to have to lower the number of Viper pilots so he can send
Yep.
artillery to those things. So the Viper pilots are the ones, or the warriors that go out there and do that. So you would think maybe
Right.
they would have, like, I don't know, Marines that have, naval gunfire support guys, or something like that.
Yeah. Actually,
Maybe,
Mediocre Model says maybe they can shoot 70s trading card gum at the Cylons. It almost took Chris out.
That
Yes,
will kill.
agreed.
That will kill the Cylon
Yeah.
for sure. It almost killed me. So
Oh boy.
but she also says, he's like, none of that. You're going to stay here. You can't go anywhere, is what he's saying. And but she's like, I'm checked out on a Viper. So you're going to send these, So you just said that you're going to send Viper pilots with heavy artillery to the frigate. But now, and you're like, okay, so you told me I can't go do the heavy artillery. Well, there's going to be spare Vipers, and I'm already checked on a Viper. So let me fly a Viper then. And I was like, man, kids. He's probably thinking that, damn kids. I mean, they just don't quit. So, but she's checked out any of those cadets, and of course Adama comes back and says one of those cadets scored 2 shots or two kills. Well, it wasn't really a kill, 2 shoot downs because nobody was in the Vipers or in the Raiders. So,
Yeah.
but all right, I'm properly chastised. So he says I'll promise I'll give you a chance later. I don't believe him. He's not going to let his little girl go out there and get hurt.
Nope. He's not.
So, and he shouldn't because
He
she
says,
is gorgeous.
but the end result is that one way or the other, the fleet must move regardless of the situation.
Right. So now we're closing in on the end of it, and I love the.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Let's see trivia out there. Ty has papers in his hands. It's irrelevant. We're going to have to move forward now, and there's a certain time limit. They're going to have to move forward, and the time limit is 420 centons. All right.
Yes.
How
right.
long is 420 centons? Anyone? Bueller?
Come on,
Bueller?
you guys.
Anyone?
Someone's going to get it. Come on, Rob, let's go.
420 centons.
This is right up your alley, man. Come on. Sean, let's go. Where's Ike? Where's let's see. Who else we got on here? Come on, there's got to be a couple of you guys.
Somebody's got to get it.
Got it.
First
Sean
of all,
says
how long is a
420
centon?
minutes.
420 minutes.
Trey says
how long is that?
4,200 microns.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Good one, Trey. Yeah, good one.
In
Jim says 420 minutes.
In our time, let's put it that way. In Earth Standard Time. There we go. How long is that?
Earth Standard.
Did we get one answer yet? Do I have to read the answer?
Sean said.
Does the
Sean
Cylon
said
have to tell you?
420 minutes.
Which is?
And Jim said 420 minutes.
Which is?
Oh, you talking about hours? You're not
No.
happy with minutes?
No.
Oh, you want to know how many hours it is. By the way, have you checked your console? Trey says 7 hours.
There you go.
Yeah.
Have I checked my console?
Yeah. In the episode, it was 100 centons. Yeah.
In the
Did
episode,
you, are you?
wow,
are you
there's
aware?
a good answer. The 100 centons. So I didn't. I
check
didn't
the
look.
green
I
room?
did not check the episode. I should have. That's a good. That's somebody checked the episode. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here they are. They're going to
it's
have
Jim.
to move forward in
Did
7
you look
hours.
Did you look at the green room?
Sorry.
Look
Yes,
at the
we're
green
good in the
room?
green room. Okay. But anyways, let's
Okay.
finish up. Actually,
Okay.
the green room
Cool.
is frozen, so I don't know if he's still there.
Okay.
Oh, he's moving. Okay, we're good. All right, so we'll finish up here in a second, and we'll have have him come on. Anyways, so 420 centons. Wow, talk about timing though. So this is 7 hours, and of course, in the show we're looking at 7 hours of that they're going to be on the planet, and now remember we're flash back to the planet, and they're, last time we heard they were knocked out. Muffet went to look for help, and now we are, back up on the bridge. So, the plan is still that, hey, we're still stuck on it. They have 7 hours to get from the frozen tundra that they can't hardly breathe at, which they're at now. And Muffet, of course, is going to save the day, because that's what droids do.
Oh boy! Oh my God! That's what you had to bring in. All right. No, unbelievable.
And that wraps up the end of the chapter. You got anything else on that?
Sing,
Pete?
O goddess, the anger of Achilles, son of Peleus, that brought countless ills upon the Achaeans. Many a brave soul did it send hurrying down to Hades. Like that. You need to cue up the CYLON. That's what you need to do.
Is there an audio book for the Iliad? In English? English. An audio book of the Iliad in English.
Minin aithe thea pilitheo achilleos, ulimenon imiri acheos alge ithike.
Yeah, I can't master English. I can't even speak another language.
Oh boy. Hey,
So,
you got some files. You got some pretty cool stuff you're sitting on, and I'm looking to hear some of it.
yeah, so that wraps up the end of the chapter and brings up.
Yes, it does.
Hang on, we'll do our. Ready? Let's do this again. Let's restart. I missed my Stream Deck back in the Base Star. Hang on.
Base Star.
And we are up.
Yes!
Joe. So,
All
Ground
right,
colonies
Joe,
of
what's
fans.
up, buddy?
Hey,
Uh-oh.
mic check 1, 2. How you
There
doing?
we go. We're good. We got you.
All right.
All right.
So we are.
Joe, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, good to see you guys.
Talk about
So-
timing.
So we
Go ahead, shoot. You got some questions? We're
it's
gonna
all
see how
it's,
this goes.
it's all about the timing, man. Joe, we mentioned that we were looking forward to having you on. That you've spent a lot of time, effort, sweat, money, blood, tears on recreating the CYLON voice. That it's not just some pre-recorded, equalized, track that they used. There's a lot of backstory to it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your odyssey to figure out how it was done and some of the stuff that you got?
Okay. Yeah. Interestingly enough, this is where I sit and wonder, what should I Google and, search today? I don't have a smartphone, so I have to keep a mental track list of what I want to check out. And I said, I wonder if they ever figured out how the CYLON voice was made. And so I came in here, started researching a couple years ago, and I had seen this gentleman named Yannick van der Lands in the Netherlands had done a little documentary about it, and he feels like after trying a whole bunch of synthesizer tones, he found the one that was the basis of the CYLON voice, which is a synthesizer tone, just a droning buzz that with a vocoder, it gets the words are stamped onto that tone. It was old telephone technology that became obsolete before it was ever used. So I said, oh, well, this guy, he was inspired by another guy named Chris Dexter, who had butchered a piece of dialogue from the show and stretched it and sampled it into a tone, which was already filtered into the form of a word, and ran that in his vocoder and was like, okay, that's kind of a facsimile, but nobody knew any of the gear. No, they didn't do any behind the scenes. I mean, it's just criminal. There's no evidence of how they did the CYLON voice and any of the extra footage, background, in making up type of thing. So it turns out that guy's work had inspired Yannick van der Lands, and I was like, well, it's just that vocoder, and he's got a good tone out of that Roland synthesizer. I want to do that, and I got him, and it wasn't quite complete sounding. And found some of this information on a forum called byyourcommand.net. And I was like, wow, this is really extensive. Who even has a Galactica fan forum like this? And I researched the guy, and out of all the places on planet Earth, he lives down the road from me, 15 minutes away. So I was like, I gotta meet this guy and see what else he knows, because there was snippets in the other documentary of an audio interview with the original sound designer named Peter Burkos. And unfortunately, 12, 14 years ago, when that was done, the gentleman was already like well into his 80s, and he was not all the way there. He remembered the wrong vocoder because he had the manual to this one that they had rented as well. The Sennheiser, it's a great big box like this, and anyways. So I touched base with him, and he had in his pocket, in his possession, a phone number of the last person alive who was worked there, that was trained, of the 7 people that were trained to make that voice in the studio. I did the math. He had to have been about 19 when he started. His friends were probably flipping burgers or washing cars. This guy was in Universal Studios in the trenches, moving tape reels around and doing this process. And I got up the courage to call him up. He's a big-time Hollywood effects guy to this day. He holds patents. He does huge gazillion-dollar projects, theme parks, all this stuff. And I'm just a little chihuahua calling his office, yapping. Hey, do you remember that thing you did 42 years ago? And sharp as a tack, remembered everything I asked, which synthesizer was used, which exact vocoder, because there's 3 variations of that vocoder. And where did that crazy distortion come from that's on a few of those scenes? It's this weird, like, guitar amp distortion. And this guy, oh yeah, ARP 2500, oh yeah, Countryman phase shifter. Oh yeah, they wanted multiple takes of different things so they could feel like they were making decisions. And he just told me the whole breakdown. And I had got his email address and, said, I'm going to send a couple files, see what you think. And he, was like, oh, that sounds good, but I don't think you'll get it without this Electrodyne console was mixed on, like a Frank Sinatra era mixing board. And so I was like, well, dig around and find out that there's a company, they basically turn the assembly line back on these individual components you can buy. I started gathering up this stuff, okay, and then found out, there's a museum back east. We went to this place called EMIAP, Electronic Music, I forget the whole acronym, but they have 2 ARP 2500s there. The rare, everything involved in the Silent Voice is the most expensive, most rare, most boutique, most exotic, holy grail piece of studio gear. Every one of them. So
wow,
I'll try to get a tone that I thought was correct off of that unit, and that's in my Voice of the CYLON documentary. Looking back, I did some things I didn't want to do to it, but that's all right because there's another Eurorack maker, CMS, and now Behringer is making clones of those modules so I can get a more righteous tone. But I was like, wow, man, I'm still not hearing it, And I've been pestering this guy politely every month or 2 months, whatever, with emails, and then come to find out in the post-production room there was, and I haven't done a final episode about this, but just the monster tape machines, the vintage tube limiters, the other tape machines, the obsolete giant mastering 2-inch quadruplex 70s there. You know when you turn on a 70s TV show, it's got this certain sound. It's just the gear that was used. So even though he had previously said, oh, I give you everything, now it turns out there's much, much more to it. But I was like, hey, I'm in too deep to turn back now, and I've been feeding this information as I get to this other YouTuber, Intro Mix, who's a vocoder aficionado as well. And this guy's been trying for 25 years to reverse engineer this thing, and nobody could. So it's fun to have somebody that, creates this historical thing as much as I do, that, we bounce ideas off each other. But now it's just a formula. It's just like if I gave you a formula to make a cookie, but I gave it to you one line at a time, all the cookies you baked until you had the whole recipe, they taste pretty bad. Right. So that's where I'm at.
wow.
And I got the final capstone, Indiana Jones, missing piece. I'm just trying to find this one rare tape machine. 2 of them are huge industrial. One of them is the size of a refrigerator, 35 millimeter Magnatech. That would be fun to have, but I can't conceivably own something like that. But that's not what really changed the tonal. It's this other mid-50s giant tube electronics tape machine where after hitting that machine as a stopping point, to process the signal through some other components, park there, and then play back into the show with the final editing, that tape machine is what really made the Cylon voice sound like a Cylon and not just a buzzy synthesizer, like, Funky Town or Freakazoid, some of these 70s, 80s. It was, a lot of commercial vocoders came out in the late 70s, early 80s, but nothing ever sounded like the Cylon voice, and that's been a mystery for, Battlestar Galactica fans and synthesizer, electronic artists. Just like, here's a tone that's never been recreated ever. So, Dale from BioCommand.net, he has a YouTube channel called Gold Cylon. He has got a few things that have extra Cylon footage. There were some promos for the Battle of Galactica ride, the Universal Studios that was there from like 79, 80 till 92 or so. And there's a commercial that features a lot of Cylon dialogue. And there's two commercials that he saved off VHS. I doubt they saved those at Universal Studios. So I've taken all the audio of all the dialogue from every Cylon word ever spoken off of the 5.1 DVD center channel to really hear it. And, I have some plugins that can like take a snapshot of the EQ curve and apply it to my files and kind of learn and see the spectral readout. So I've really analyzed this up and down, but it's just about a synthesizer tone from a boutique, huge, rare, exotic synthesizer that, they made 100 of them. There's 50 left, worth 6 figures. The rare vocoder, they only made 150 or less of those. The mixing console, which now you can fortunately obtain preamps and some of the EQs from this newer version of the company, Electrodyne. But the tape machines, the vintage tube limiters, you can see some of the stuff behind me. It's not all here yet, and some of it's on the floor because I ran out of room. But I just was like, hey, I've gone too far. I can't turn back now. I sent you guys a couple files if you're able to play them of my progress.
We're ready to play them.
And,
which files do you want to hear first? I got two files. I got how many combat ships, and I have the
they're all
plugins.
They're all me. Yeah. They're
Which
all
one do you want to hear
just play
first?
One in a, let's say how many. I always name them funny names to kind of reference which one it is on my USB stick. But how about how many combat ships that
All right.
sequence?
How many combat ships in the fleet?
Okay.
How many?
So that's an original for reference from that scene in that episode. That's original Battlestar Galactica dialogue. So you can play one of the other files. And,
All right, ready?
Each scene in the show is a little bit different because every fader movement, everything changes the tone. Go ahead.
This is the how many plugins are there? You ready for that one?
Okay. Yeah.
How many combat ships in the fleet?
Sorry, that's my fault.
How many?
But you really
How many of you are there? You are from the Galactica. Take him to a cold cell. I will examine his cortex later. How many combat ships in the fleet? How many by your command? Fully operative. By your command. Notify summit station. Random sweeps covering the corridor. How many?
Wow.
Nice.
Sounds even better coming over a reduced broadcast quality. Helps get it in that degraded zone. So it really is a miracle. The thing is, nobody knows the voice actor who read the original script. For whatever reason, scheduling or something, they recorded the voice actor reading the lines to tape, and then later brought that tape reel into the production room and inserted from the Niagara tape machine, played into the vocoder, and made the speech. But those reels came with no name, and it's just been lost in the sands of time. Who actually read those lines? And it would be good to hear that guy's voice, because picture in your mind like Barry White versus Michael Jackson. I think, and so basically in a vocoder, the frequencies in your voice, like say here's the bass and here's the treble, they activate the corresponding frequencies in the tone, and that's how your voice is merged onto the tone. So if you sound like Pee Wee Herman or like Michael Jackson or some deep voiced R&B singer, it's not just frequencies. There's overtones, harmonics, formants. Every human being has a different voice. You can recognize your own mom's voice in a crowd of people because you're tuned to it, and there's just all these factors. So that kind of influences the tone, but it's mainly all the long chain of gear and the video creation process from the back in the day. I look at Battlestar Galactica and I just marvel, and people have commented, how did you get all these lasers in sequence with the animation, with the dialogue and all this, just with the crude syncing stuff. Like, it was really, they pulled off miracles to make really, really high quality audio, which we take for granted when you watch a cheap Netflix production or amateur film and the audio was just, terrible. You're immediately disengaged because it's so bad. I did see a Netflix show. It was some kind of narco spinoff, and all the dialogue sounded like they were in the tiled men's room at the basketball game or something. They were in a cornfield in a pickup cab, and you hear the echo of the tiles. It's like, what'd you do? Just, it wasn't overdubbed either. So really good audio really brings it home, and just the weird menagerie of equipment they had that made the vocoder sound the way it sounded for the purposes of editing and making it intelligible. Also made it just huge and monstrous, and like this steely metallic ring that just fits the Cylon character. It was just one of those things in art where the magic happened, studio magic, when Jurassic Park came out and there's CGI in that film that's better than movies that came out 10 years ago, like, not to mention any names. I'm looking at you, I Am Legend, okay? But where the studio magic happened, and it just created art history. But there was just this black hole of knowledge of how did they do this. Everyone knew it was a vocoder, but it's just a unique synthesizer, unique preamps, unique tape machines, unique vintage tube limiters that are very rare, exclusive, worth tens of thousands of dollars. All this stuff working together to make this classic sound, and they didn't document it. There's no just this one guy out there until I got a hold of him. It's just like, imagine the formula for Darth Vader, like how they did his voice, which was a very tight flange unit called the Marshall Time Modulator. Imagine if they threw it away, documented it, and then you go back to make $1 billion reboot later and nobody knows how to make that voice. It seems really weird to me, but I guess in TV, when, hey, that's canceled, throw it away, it's done, it's yesterday's news, and nobody cares to preserve this stuff except for the fans.
What a shame. I'm glad that you've actually done that. Hey, Joe, by the way, Trey Nar says Joe Meister, and there's a couple of others. John Van Gostein says buyyourcommand.net, good site. CylonKnight.com and CylonEmpire.com are safe places for us Cylons. And Sean says, even Ronald D. Moore's reimagined Razor classic Cylon sounded terrible. So, yes, agreed. John Repper, thanks for joining us. We're on with Joe Granberg, who is the Cylon voice. He is on a quest. He is going to put together basically all the machines that are necessary to make the perfect recreation of the Cylon voice. And we're really honored that you came on. You have a documentary that you did, Joe. Tell us a little bit about that documentary, please.
Yeah, so I wanted to share this on YouTube and show some of these exotic boutique pieces and explain how they were used in the process. And it's called The Voice of the Cylon. It has 6 parts. There's an addendum I added when I found out some more stuff. And I have one more monster one that I'm going to do. If I can ever find one of these 3 tape machines, the one that's responsible for the really unique tone, I'm going to do another episode about that and a few other pieces of information and just bring it all home. You already heard the audio example. I'm getting really close, really in the ballpark. And like I said, it's not feasible for me to own a film tape dubber the size of a commercial refrigerator. And the other one that's like a museum piece, that 2-inch quadruplex. But the point is, that old technology, they recorded really, really hot to that magnetic tape. And, before you mow your lawn, there's some grass is this high, some grass is that high. After you mow it, it's level. Same thing with the frequencies. When you slam things to tape, it just merges everything down into this nice, open, level 3D thing. And, all these hit records that we know and love, we perceive them that way because they were mostly done on tape. Cylon voice, same thing. And computers can't duplicate that. they tried. You can't.
Ah, that's awesome. Hey, Joe, we want to have you back. We want to
Okay.
talk more about the background on, all that stuff that you got. And then there's a couple of other items that we will touch upon, including some Hallmark specials that have recordings on them. And we want you to come back and we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Okay.
And I want to put you on the spot, man. If and when you find that extra piece that you're looking for, we'd like to be on along with your quest, and we're going to be plugging your YouTube channel. We got that up now,
Okay.
and your documentary as well. But when you're ready, we
Great.
want you back, and especially when whatever comes first. But when you get that other piece, man, we definitely want you to come back, and we want to talk in depth. I have
Yeah.
some more, questions. I know Chris has some more stuff, but today's just like an introduction into your world, and we're big Cylon fans. Never mind, Battlestar Galactica. So, man, you are exactly what we are looking for in terms of super fans that are all about bringing the story to the light, and it's awesome tale, and we're right behind you. We got your back. We want you to give us more on the next round, and thanks for coming on, Joe. It's
Absolutely.
an honor to have you,
I
man.
just
Yeah,
one
look
final
forward
thing.
to doing that.
Yeah, I just got one final
Sure.
thing, Joe. I want to ask you one question. Simple question. How much money have you spent in this quest as of this
Oh,
date?
yeah. We were talking about it the other day. I haven't added it up. There's some things I did part with. I had the Niagara tape machine. It was from 1962. I ended up selling that to find something more pertinent because I will use that on a few scenes. But with the addition of this other tape machine, depending on the price, it's $3,000 to $5,000 range. I think I'm going to crack $30,000, and that's just with individual preamp channel strips and EQs, not entire consoles. Because own a vintage, you can Google search Electrodyne console and find. I think there's one old one for sale on Reverb for $50,000 right now, and it's very small and minimal, but it was used to record the Jackson 5 and some huge artists, so they're trying to make money for it. But this other stuff was just handmade for. This is Universal Studios. Tell us what you want. We'll make it. Oh, MGM, Paramount. Okay. You didn't just go to Guitar Center and buy it. It was all custom made. So there's very few of these things around ever that have even survived. And people have cannibalized those components. Like if you see behind me, these equalizers right here, they came from a Sphere console. They only made about 50 of those consoles. One of them was in the White House for about 30 years. They finally replaced it, and people say, hey, that EQ is so golden. A preamp's so golden, rack it and use it because people like that sound. But yeah, we'll do it again, and I should be able to do a live demonstration for you.
That's a super fan there, buddy.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That's somebody whose love for Battlestar, maybe, and the love, the quest to find that perfect combination.
Yeah, it's just a sonic. It's been a sonic mystery for going on 5 decades, and just I feel like it was fate how I found a couple clues here and there, and then the centerpiece, Dale at firecommand.net, the dude lives 15 minutes away from me. I was like, okay, the universe is telling me to do this.
That's for sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's outstanding. Mediocre Modeler says, Joe, you're awesome.
Yes,
yeah,
you are awesome, Joe.
Agree. Absolutely.
Thank you.
The beauty is,
you are
you
super
know, real
fan.
quick, when the day comes for me to sell all this gear, they're not making any more of it. I'll probably get all my money back and more. That's the only thing. It's not like I went on a $5,000 cruise to Alaska, now the money's gone, which would be great. But this is holding its value more than the US dollar stuff, for sure. Okay. All right, guys.
Outstanding.
Thank you so much.
Man.
Hey, I'm gonna get out of here.
All right.
I want to sign off now. So thanks for having me on, guys. We'll do this again next time.
I really appreciate it.
Got it.
Thanks for
Joe.
thanks
yeah.
for being
All
a
right, guys.
fan who pushes the envelope.
Yeah, absolutely. Bye, guys. Take care.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Take care. All right, Chris, man. That was freaking awesome. Yeah, play another sound, another Cylon. Play one of the tracks, man.
Oh, hang on.
Let her rip.
Of you are there. You are from the Galactica. Take him to a cold cell. I will examine his cortex later. How many combat ships in the fleet? How many by your command? Fully operative. By your command. Notify Summit Station. Random sweeps covering the corridor.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah, very, very cool.
All right.
Amazing.
So we wrap this with the perfect outro, right? We got Joe to come on, and that was fantastic. Joe, thanks so much. Looking forward to the next show. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Love having you all on board. Keep clicking the thumbs up. Don't forget to tell your friends about the show. If you want to contact us, our email is info@interfleetbroadcasting.com. Stay safe. See you at our next show. Keep the faith. And remember, fans fuel the fleet. Thank you for tuning in tonight, guys. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the show. Next week, we have more of the book. And, Chris and I will do our best to entertain you and bring, Galactica and a mishmash of everything else. Everybody, Lola, everybody have a good night. And see you again next week.